como el río, yo que lloro como el mar, que voy por un laberinto diseñado siempre por la soledad. Tengo que decir que te amo como nunca yo amé. Tengo que decirte cuánto vives en mi alma, vives en mi ser. Hoy mi sentimiento espera que tú logres regresar. Ámame como tú quieras, pero no dejes de amar. El día que te conocí, olvidé todas mis dudas sobre las razones para existir. Te abracé como un niño abraza a su mamá. Supe que solo en tus brazos.
So Montana is kind of divided into two types of territory. You have this gorgeous, flat, rolling plain, and this is a little bit dusty because they're in the middle of a drought here, but typically you've just these, corn and wheat fields as far as the eye can see. You've got all the mountains, Glacier National Park and all that sort of stuff. So if you're looking for diversity, Montana it's probably got it all. This is Highway 89, one of many highways and byways in the United States. Sharing it with the odd Winnebago, which isn't too bad. Ruining me shot though, he was. Ruining me shot. It's hard enough to be thinking of things to be saying. But this is Highway 89. I've been talking about it for a while. And it stretches the length. Highway 89, I think, runs the whole way from the border with Canada right down to the border with Mexico. But look at this road. Riding on this sort of a road is hypnotic because what happens is you're driving along, the bike is straight, there's only a small bit of breeze, and all you can see is that yellow line behind me going boom, just whipping by, and you're out in this gorgeous flat plain. I mean, it's the variety you're looking for. Mountains one day and then this gorgeous road the next. But this is the white line that you tend to be watching, and that's what people say when they're talking about white line fever. That's what they're talking about. Obviously not cocaine, obviously, but the white line fever of the road. You're just watching. You get that yellow stripe in the middle, the white on the right, and you're bisecting the two of them. I'm often asked whether or not I ever get lonely on these roads, and the short answer is yeah, but especially if you're travelling on your own, obviously you'd much rather be travelling with somebody else. But the mad thing is, out here you don't expect anybody to be here. You know what I mean? It's much lonelier for me actually in a city or something like that. You can imagine if you went to Dublin or something like that in Ireland, or pick any city. If you go there and you're surrounded by hundreds and hundreds of people and you know nobody and there's nobody to talk to, that's much lonelier than being out here by yourself, because you don't actually expect anybody to be here. So while you feel absolutely alone, you don't feel in any way lonely. The majority of what you're going to see on Highway 89 is stuff related to the Lewis and Clark expedition, and that happened, and I read up on this just for you, between 1804 and 1806. Lewis and Clark, who were two people, two dudes, were commissioned by Thomas Jefferson to go and map the Pacific west coast of the United States. It took them 2 years, 1804 to 1806. But all around here is things like, the Lewis Clark Road, the Lewis Clark this, the Lewis Clark the other. Everything is Lewis Clark. But it's an amazing thing that between 1804 and 1806 is when they mapped it, but it wasn't until 1876 that they kind of started to defeat the Indian nations, Sitting Bull and all the rest of them. Welcome to the Big Sky State, and welcome to the wind. The reason it's called the Big Sky State is basically because it's so flat in places. Now, western Montana is mountainous and it's got the Rockies running up through it, and it's absolutely beautiful. But as you go east, it flattens out and it becomes this, and you can see the horizon for miles and miles and miles, as far as you can go. And I guess that's where the whole big sky thing comes in, because you can see you're standing on top of the curvature of the earth. You can see it the whole way around you. There isn't a hill, there's nothing. You can just see out there for miles and miles. It is just gorgeous. And you see that colour yellow, that gorgeous wheat barley colour, I don't know. It's like the song Fields of Gold by Sting. You can almost see him, that he had an old walk and something like that, and he, the words for the song came to him. But like, that colour, that view will stay with me until the day I die. It's just gorgeous. When the trip is hard, believe it or not, mentally it's quite easy. You tend to be utterly consumed with what's going on, even though physically it's probably a nightmare. When the trip is really interesting, when you're in an amazing location, your mind can tend to be consumed again with what's going on. Everything around you is so beautiful, there's absolutely no problems in your mind. However, in between the world's really great locations, there's lots of very average locations. I've made this point a few times, and invariably you find yourself in places where you just have to get through the miles. For me, these are the really difficult times. The reason they're difficult is that the mind has a wonderful way of throwing up in you every mistake you've ever made, or every regret that you've ever had while you're driving along. If you're at home, you'd turn on the TV, maybe you'd meet your friends for a pint, or you'd do something or anything to take your mind off it. Basically, I suppose what you're trying to do is bury it deep back from where it came from. However, there's no such places to hide on the world's long and lonely highways. You have to deal with whatever thought or emotion your mind decides to randomly throw into your head. For that reason, and that reason alone, the book Not Dead Yet alternates between the motorcycle trip and growing up. And the reason is, it's because I can guarantee you, should you undertake a journey like this and you do it on your own, or even if you do it with your friend, the actual journey is nothing compared to the mental journey you'll go through. And to not write about it would be denying a huge percentage of the stuff I had to deal with in my head. I don't think I'm alone in feeling like that. I think everybody who takes on a large journey solo probably goes through the same thing. I'd love to talk to, one of these people who do these round the world yacht races or round the world boat trips that they do solo. My guess is that their brain turns itself inside out on a trip like that. And the same thing to a lesser extent happens on a round the world motorcycle trip. This is Bonneville Salt Flats. You can see this is one of the speed runs here. Just Bonneville right now is about 200 square miles of salt, and here just beside Wendover, on the border between Utah and Nevada, the Bonneville International Speedway is located, and this is where everybody who wants to go really, really fast and not get worried about having a speeding ticket comes. It's a fantastic place. It really is like being on the surface of the moon. I've been to Bonneville 4 times, and I'll easily go back another 4 times if I get the opportunity. It's a great place. All you do is drive the bike out onto the salt and drive around really, really fast. There's no caps, and you're just driving around having a great time. Simple as that. One of the times I was there, I decided I was going to do a speed run. The plan was to drive the bike up to 100 miles an hour and see how I went.
Gotta give myself enough run. What I'm doing here is I'm looking for one of these dried in pieces of salt where they do the runs on. I'm actually a bit nervous about it now. All of a sudden, you know, when you talk about doing it, when you're driving along, you just say, I'm gonna ramp it up to 100 miles an hour and we'll see how that goes, and I'm such a fucking hard bastard. But now all of a sudden that I've the camera on and the film's rolling, I'm absolutely shitting myself. So let's see how this goes now. Time to turn onto the speed track. You can see it there, that piece of clean salt. So the whole idea is, if you look down here, you're going to take it from 0 to 160 that direct. Now, I'm really shitting myself here at the moment, because what if I get some really bad sand or something like that, or I hit a bump, or I start to slide off? Well, anyway, I don't have to do it. I can stop at whatever speed is comfortable, so we'll see what happens. But I am very, very nervous. 100 miles an hour is not that hard. It's just how much do you trust that surface? Look down there, look. You know? Why I feel I need to prove this to everybody, I do not know. Like, it's not like people are going to doubt that I did 100 miles an hour or something. It's not exactly a fast speed. Alright, I'm going to go. Okay, 40 kilometers an hour, 60 kilometers an hour, 80 kilometers an hour, up to 100 kilometers an hour. Go on, you good thing. 120 kilometers an hour, 130, 140, 150. Go on! 160, go on! Go on, you good thing! Man alive, that is just like a roller coaster ride right there. Okay, so I'm going to turn around and do it again. See the way I kind of veered off the racing track there? You can see that's kind of white stuff. What you want to stay on is this lovely flat kind of black stuff here. Okay, so let's see how this goes now. And me clutch is fucking burnt. Okay, 1, 2, 3, go. Come on, you mad bastard. Okay, 50 kilometers an hour, 80 kilometers an hour, 100 kilometers an hour, 120 kilometers an hour, 130, 140. Go on! Go on, get up! 150. Get up to 160, go on! 160, 100 miles an hour! I tell you what, place more than any other place in the whole world. It's the most surreal environment ever.
Out in the salt it gets very hot, so it's best to stay off the salt flat during the heat of the day. And there's a couple of things in Wendover to pass some time. There's an airport which has a film prop there of a plane that was used in Con Air, and the casino. Obviously there's a sort of stuff that you can do in any casino, but it's enough to kill a couple of hours. It's not the sort of thing that I would go to Wendover specifically for, but it's better than standing out in the salt and roasting alive. One of the great things about riding a bike around the world is that you find yourself in an awful lot of very unusual places, such as inside the plane they used in Con Air. This is situated in Wendover Airport, which is very close to Bonneville Salt Flats, and I wonder, is this piece actually Utah or is it Nevada? I think it's technically, or right on the line anyway. But it's a cool prop. I don't think it ever flew. It's a hollowed out plane. Utah is the driest state in America. I don't mean that from a heat perspective, I mean that from an alcohol perspective. Huge counties and vast swathes of the whole place don't drink or don't allow the sale of alcohol. So the reason Wendover as a town prospers is because it's on the Nevada border. It's basically bridges the Nevada and Utah border. So if you want to go and grab a quick couple of beers or have a good time, Wendover is the closest place for people who live in Salt Lake City. I headed off down to the Salt Flats. I suppose in my head it was a kind of a ceremonial goodbye. They were doing rocket testing down there. Apparently there is such a thing as the Utah Rocket Club, and these guys just head off into the Salt Flats and launch rockets. It was one of the most random events I've ever come across. Okay, I'm in actually Nevada, and just down there is Utah. And the reason I'm here waiting on the sun to set is I'm going to show you something really, really special. Very, very few people in the whole world know that this exists, right? And this is one of the few places in the world where you can see this. And I'm going to show you later. But way out there in the distance, I'm going to zoom in on it, and you get a better appreciation for this as it starts to get to dusk. Right? This is one of the few places in the world where you can see the curvature of the earth from.
to see those two small black lines. I'm really trying to hold it. You can see them curving. That is actually the motorway which runs into Salt Lake City between Wendover and Salt Lake City, Utah. Okay, and there it is, slightly later. It's starting to brighten up. Again, what you're looking at there is the lights from the oncoming traffic coming out of Salt Lake City, heading towards Wendover. Everybody here is probably heading west, either to Reno. Get some drink, huh? But you can see it there, it's absolutely fantastic, I think, to see it. The thing that really gets me about it is that it's not just that that's a stream of lights and that's the arc of the world. There's kind of two things I take away from it. One is how small the earth is, that sitting here on top of a hill in Wendover, I can see an arc of it, kind of says, well, that's a good portion of the world we're kind of looking at right there. And then the second piece of it is that string of lights is actually made up by hundreds of little cars. Well, there are not little cars, hundreds of cars and trucks and whatever. That every one of those are people and they're all headed somewhere. They've all got their own hopes and dreams and stuff like that. It's what that string of light represents is what I think is really cool. If you ever come to Wendover, before you go in and blow all your money in a casino, come to the top of the hill just outside Wendover, look slightly to the left, and you will see a string of light. The other thing that's cool about Wendover is it's split between Utah and Nevada. There's a line that goes through it, and earlier on I was jumping across the line going, Utah, Nevada, Utah, Nevada, Utah, Nevada, Utah, Nevada. Because everywhere they're blaring Frank Sinatra, because Wendover is trying to be the next Reno or Las Vegas.